Hi, I'm Glenn, Dave's behind the camera. We're the NC Beer guys, and welcome to another episode of NC Beer Buzz. We are very pleased to be out in Apex, didn't have far to come today, and we're at the new Brüeprint Brewing Company out on Perry Road, is that right?
That's correct.
And we're kind of in an industrial park, up in behind, off of US 1 and 55 in behind the Walmart for general directions, and look it up on our brewery map if you need to find where Brüeprint is. We're here today with Eric Wagner, the owner, manager, operator, founder. He wears lots of titles and hats, and we appreciate you having us out here today.
Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. So let's talk a little bit about how Brüeprint came to be. I mean, where did it come from? You've got a brewer background?
I do.
Okay.
It didn't develop until later on in life. It didn't quite start out of a baba when I was a little baby.
Right.
But it probably should have.
Right.
Where it started, I'm an engineer by trade, or at this point, former trade.
Mm-hmm. So are you full-time now doing this? Or?
I'm full-time
okay.
brewing and operating and wearing all of those hats you speak of at the same time. But I was in the water and wastewater treatment side of things and process engineering. And my sister-in-law bought me a Mr. Beer kit some 7 years ago for Christmas.
Okay.
And I had never thought about it. I was a good beer drinker, but I never thought about making it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have quite the hobby of cooking.
Right, okay.
So lo and behold, you come home from a difficult week of work and you sit down in the kitchen and you start to create some recipes and start brewing, and that difficult week would disappear very quickly.
Right.
So I realized I enjoyed
So you found
this.
your love and found your niche.
Absolutely. So at some point I came home after a particularly poor week, a couple of years into brewing, and had designed a couple of my own recipes and got into the science of brewing, and said, why am I not doing this for real? Because it's passion and it's something you love to do, and you can't miss out on life and not do that.
That's great.
So off we went. About 2.5 years ago, I went ahead and started working on the business plan, and here we are now, open.
And you were already in Apex, or did you come pick Apex for the brewery?
I reside in Holly Springs,
okay.
so it's certainly nice to be close by. We did look at several different towns and liked Apex the best for various reasons, including location and demographics. We are the first one in Apex, and the clientele, which has been just fantastic so far.
That's great. So we're going to talk a little bit later. We're going to look at the brewery operations, but before we talk about the beer, we've got a nice tap room set up here. The tap room's open Wednesday through Saturday, I think you said.
It's Wednesday through Saturday from 4 to 10.
Okay.
Starting. And
the flagship beers that we've happened to have had before, there were 4 then, I think.
Yes, we have 4 year-round brews, which we call them brews, B-R-U-E.
Right.
And to make that link from Brüeprint, we try to keep the name brew in each name.
Okay.
So the flagships, or 4 year-rounds, that we have, which are right behind us here, are our heavier beer. A wee heavy Scotch Ale is Edinbrüe, and that is an 8.2% Scotch Ale, very delicious. Next to that on the tap there is our Amber Ale, which is called Brüe Scarlet. A little lighter, just under 5%, but also very, very tasty and refreshing. Our next year-round brew is Brüe Eyes, which is, of course, our lightest of it, just under 5% as well, and very delicious as well, very crisp, and goes down rather smooth. Our 4th one, which is probably a good food pairing, particularly when you talk about like a soft cheese, grilled cheese sandwich, is our Brüenette Brown Ale, which has undertones of chocolate, about 5.2%. And that one was actually the first name that we came up with when we were talking about having brew in it. We looked at a brown ale and said, well, that looks like a brunette.
Easy enough.
We wouldn't want to ask for that.
That's right. Good. So folks can come into the tap room and sample the beer, and I see they can take home what we know is a croaker, but a little growler, small growler.
Yes.
Or a regular size growler. So we have a little growling filling station going on here.
They can, and we do have kegs available as well for both wholesale and for retail.
And what is your distribution? What are you hoping to do? You're out and about now yet in any accounts?
We are out and about. As a matter of fact, just today we delivered a keg to Tyler's Tap Room in Apex.
Nice.
They are officially the first one to have us on tap.
Good.
And we have a couple, probably up to about 10 that are.
And you'll self-distribute for a while?
Yes, correct.
And then grow until you need a partner.
Distribution, that's correct.
Good. So how different are the commercial recipes now from where you started with the homebrew recipe? I assume these were all kind of something you tinkered with over time, recipe-wise.
Yes, I have, and got them to a point where I thought they were ready to go. And I have hired 2 staff here.
Okay, go ahead, and who is the brewer?
Sure, yes, I would tell you the brewer is Brad Fogelman, who is the brother-in-law of Reid Huntley, who's also on our staff. Reid worked with me at my former engineering company.
Okay.
And came on over and joined me and helped me out in the demo and the building of the tasting room and get everything set up. And then his brother-in-law joined us shortly after, another very passionate brewer. And the three of us sat down and took the homebrew recipes and scaled them up and took a crack at our first batches, and I would say all of them came out exactly the way we wanted to.
Great.
The Amber Ale is slightly hoppier than the homebrew version.
On purpose, maybe, for there are some hotbeds out there.
Yes, just from the hop utilization, but in looking at it, I think we're going to keep it there.
Okay, okay.
It is
So maybe you fell into the right thing.
That's right.
By accident.
Yeah.
It happens
I'm
all
not
the
sure
time.
there's much we would change after our first batch, which is pretty good.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. And
Good.
currently, our seasonals are based off of the sports season.
All right.
So a little bit different approach, and some of them are long seasons too, so they'll be out a little bit longer.
All right.
Including our IPA, which is, we're going to be kegging next Monday. It's actually in the tank for the first time now. It's called Brew Diamond, and that represents a baseball seasonal. And what we like to do with our beers is to have people enjoy them and go back and have their own personal memories of, say, the sporting event that they went to as a kid or recently.
Great.
And enjoy that beer with that
Well,
memory.
that's a very interesting approach. Very
So
innovative.
we have the Brew Diamond IPA coming
And
out.
what will follow that in the fall? Or?
Following that in the fall will be Brüe 32, which is a football pale ale. Not quite the same as the Brüe Eyes Pale Ale. It is a little bit heavier. Alcohol percentage is up around 5.9, and it's a little bit creamier, and that's because it goes better with your tailgating types of food.
Okay, a little heavier substance and a little heavier food, and the coldness of the winter coming on.
That's right. Yep, you got to stay warm.
Good. And then what's going to come around after?
After that, or actually at the same time, is our Zambruni, which is an American lager for
For the hockey fans, right?
That's right. And then for the holiday season is Jingle Brew, which is a holiday spicy amber ale, which is delicious. So those are the 8 that we have right now. And the unique situation that we have there, and I was thinking about it after we got everything set up here, somebody asked me about pumpkin beer or Oktoberfest. I said, well, we haven't done a pumpkin beer yet. But now that I think about it, the only time of the year where all 4 major sports are playing at the same time is October. So we're going to have a little fun with that in terms of a different type of Oktoberfest.
And you never knew brew went with so many words.
That's right.
It fits every title,
It
every
does,
point.
We've got a couple more coming out. We're going to try and get a summer week going here pretty shortly, and Brad would like to call that Brue SA. So we'll do something between Memorial Day and Labor Day to celebrate our country as well.
That's great. So there's always going to be something new and different. If you've been in before, come back, and there'll be something you probably hadn't had before. And once you get used to coming in on every season, you can always come back the next season around and be delighted again by the offerings at Brüeprint. We're going to move over on the other side and look at the backbone of the operation. So we move now into the back side of the brewery, and where the real heart of the matter is. And Reid Huntley has joined us, and you heard Reid introduced on the front side. And Reid is the sales guy and maybe the face of the brewery when you're not dealing with Eric. Right? Is that fair enough?
Yeah,
Good,
that's a good summary.
So one of the first things you notice when we get in the backside is these guys, for being relatively new, did not start small on a couple barrel system with plans to see how it went and then meet the demand. They're going to go out and do big things with big tanks and create demand, and hopefully one day still have to upscale and add on and grow. But what was that decision like? A lot of guys do start smaller, and you're starting with what kind of capacity?
Well, we're starting off with a 20 barrel system, and the decision was, I guess you would say, time consuming in the business plan writing. What we had seen in the research quite a bit is that one of the toughest things to do is to kind of put your toe in the water and try to get in rather than just jumping in.
But without the brand recognition, you're a brand new guy knocking on the doors.
Yep, we're jumping right in. From what we've seen, people have issues with running out of beer, running out of capacity, and not being able to meet demand, which affects the business side.
Well, you were saying earlier that you're just, as of today, in Tyler's Apex. But the worst thing that could happen is you get them some beer, a week or 10 days, they come back and say, we're ready for some more Brüeprint, and you don't have any beer to give them.
That's right.
And we do hear that happening with these smaller guys who think differently on startup. But I guess that's a cost factor decision, mostly.
It is, yes, definitely. And also in terms of your return and economy of scale, somewhere we were leaning maybe towards a 15 barrel, and in talking to people who have those, we're saying a couple months in we were looking for new tanks and we were scrambling and brewing too many times a day. You might as well go just for the 20. So they talked me into that, and we went ahead and did it.
Okay.
And I guess the way you look at it, if I did resign from engineering and I'm jumping into the pool, I better make sure the pool is deep enough, right?
That's right.
Especially if it's filled with beer.
And there's no problem in having somebody out there who can rep it well and create demand and create the production, and you'll be there. And you'll be ready to meet his success when it gets there. So how has it been going out and, as we said, knocking on doors and taps and bars and places and saying, I'm the new guy,
yeah,
and I want in on this limited tap space that everybody's already fighting for? I guess must be
man.
what you hear.
Yeah. So any place that you go to, they usually don't have any empty taps. So I'm doing what I can to
be
try
the
to get
next
into the
one.
rotation. Yeah, you got it. And everybody that I've talked to has been super excited. So they really want to get the local beer, get the new guy on the
that's
tap.
the angle, that's the hook, isn't it? We're local.
Absolutely.
And there's quite a few opportunities, let's say Wake County, being
Mm-hmm.
local.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not so many opportunities right in Apex, but there's lots of opportunities around here to drink.
Yeah.
So if you can get even just to be one. But now do you go in trying to sell them one tap, or I know you got more than one beer to sell.
Right.
So what's the pitch?
So what I'm doing is I'm going in with samples and letting them try it and figure out what they like the most, and also
what fits their rotation.
yeah,
I guess.
looking at their tap space and saying, oh man, they don't have any good dark ales. Let me see if I can push the brunette a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have actually said the Scotch ale department is pretty slim, so I'm able to push that.
Good.
And they're responding well to it.
It's a little more unique than some
Absolutely.
others that come knocking.
Yeah.
Good. And I guess we talked about the seasonals that'll be coming later. That's going to be a retail accounts, or mostly just inside the brewery, or we're going to push those out the door too?
They're going to be both.
Okay. So
yeah, we're going to go all directions
those
with that.
two later.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in fact, we've had a lot of good feedback. People are just rearing to try the IPA that we're going to have coming out, and
It's in the
pretty
tank.
soon.
It's in the
Pretty
tank
soon.
still.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've had a couple of sneak peeks with the samples that we've taken,
Yeah.
and people are liking the non-carbonated samples, so that's a good sign.
Great. Good.
And as far as as far as future hopes, we do hope that the Zambruni will be in the arena as
Okay,
well, to kind
right.
of represent the Hurricanes in the local.
And again, that doesn't help that you're a local guy pitching that.
Right.
Well, you're not somebody from, let's say, even the mountains or Charlotte coming into the arena here.
Right.
And, you play the local. You got to use every leverage point you got.
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
guess if you're out selling. So what's been the challenge then, other than getting them to know who you are, that you exist? I guess is the first thing.
I've got an easy answer for that. The biggest challenge is that they already have locals that come into the bar regularly and already order this beer or that beer, and they only want to have one or two ambers on tap. So me, being a new guy, getting my tap in there,
When you don't necessarily have the customer base out there walking into the bars,
that's exactly
saying we want Brüeprint. They don't think to ask,
it's
for
brand
one thing, 'cause
recognition.
they don't see it.
It's brand recognition. We need our brand to be recognized, and so far, everybody's raving about it. I just got to get out there more.
And people that come in here will soon be doing that for you, because
got it.
they'll be going out and about and seeing, I had this great beer over in Apex.
Yeah.
I'm right here drinking, let's say, in Fuquay, and why can't I get the beer that's made just right next door? And
Yeah, exactly.
And if enough managers, bar managers, owners, whoever makes those decisions, hears that, that'll be part of your job easier next time. Maybe they'll start calling you instead of you calling them.
Wouldn't that be great?
If you hear it happens,
Yeah.
you can dream of it.
Oh,
So it starts with a dream, right?
That's right. We talked a little bit about Eric's background. Now, are you the guy who worked with him in the engineering field?
Yes,
and
sir.
you came along?
Yep.
Okay. Was that did you come 100% now, or are you still trying to make a living doing something else too?
No, I'm all in.
You're all
I'm
in? Okay, this is an all-in crowd here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was scary, wasn't it?
That was very scary.
Okay.
I spent years at NC State getting my engineering degree, and then spent a few years on the engineering side, and then realized that I wasn't loving it. My heart wasn't in it. But now I've had an excellent opportunity for something that my heart already was
And
in.
to be in on the
Yeah.
ground floor with
Yeah.
somebody you know and trust already and have some relationship with. It's not like a stranger.
Yeah. Oh, it's not that strange. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little.
But so in the end, it was a hard decision, but not one you regret yet.
No, I don't think I'll ever regret it. I don't think I'll ever
Right.
regret it. If nothing else, it's been great to take a step back from the rigors of private engineering. That's for sure.
Uh-huh.
So I'm really enjoying it over here so far.
Good. So real quick, before we close out, show what are we looking at here, tank wise, and how many, and what's going on?
You mean to take it? You got it. I'll take it.
Go ahead.
All right, well, we'll start with this one. This is the closest. This is our hot liquor tank, and you could just call it a hot water tank.
Yep.
So
Now our folks should know what the X piece does. Just tell us what they are.
okay.
What we got going.
Well, this is our hot water reservoir that we use in the mashing process, and we can use it also whenever we're sparging and topping off the kettle. So this is where we get all the water that ends up as beer. And you guys just want to follow along?
Sure.
Okay. So this is our mash tun, and this is where the grain comes. And we mix it with the hot water, and we're able to maintain the temperature with a boiler. And so we let that mash for about an hour, and turns the carbohydrates into sugar for the yeast.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Great. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll keep up with you.
So then coming along, the next stop for the beer before it's beer is this guy. This is the kettle. So the sugary water that comes out of the mash tun comes into here, and we do a boil. And once again, this is also heated by steam, so no direct flame. So we've got a steam jacket. The wall is hollow. That's where the steam is able to heat the liquid. And from there, it comes through our temperature heat exchanger, and we drop the temperature of that liquid with water from our cold liquor tank, which is over here.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually reuse that water. So as it does its job and exchanges heat, it heats up, and we reuse that water over in the hot liquor tank.
Okay.
So once that sugary liquid is good and cool, we transfer it over here to one of our fermenters. And we've got 4 fermenters. They're all 20 barrel. They're identical. And currently they're all empty except for this one, which has our IPA in it.
You ready to go?
And that'll be out next week.
And for the viewers who can see behind us, we're now looking through the window into the tap room where we were before. So when you're here enjoying the beer, you can also kind of see the operation, see what's going on. If they happen to be working those hours, you can catch them actually doing something besides drinking and selling beer.
And that's been a big draw. People love to come over and lean against the bar that we have.
And you guys feel like you're in the zoo.
Yeah.
All right, good. Eric, Reid, thanks so much for having us today.
Thank you.
We appreciate you
Appreciate
having
you
us out
coming
to
out.
Apex.
Thanks
It's such a
very
long haul for us. But this may be our hometown brewery now. It's down to 2, which is the closest to me, so we may be here more than we think we are. Until next time, remember, this is the NC Beer Guys and another episode of the NC Beer Buzz. And as always, drink local and keep your beer dollars in North Carolina.